Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Not Another Podcast. Today, what?
Got the name wrong, mate.
How?
You said not another podcast.
No, it didn't.
You fucking did. You missed out whiskey.
Did I miss out whiskey?
It's a whiskey podcast, mate, and you
right.
forgot to say whiskey.
Welcome back to Not Another Whiskey Podcast. My
Well
apologies. Thanks, Mitch. Thanks for keeping us right. I just thought it was a generic podcast just to chat about stuff. But we're here actually, more so, Mitch, to talk to the wonderful India Blanch, who has joined us from the, well, how do you describe your job? You're the Malts Ambassador.
So I'm the UK Malts Ambassador for Bacardi.
Fantastic.
So,
right.
yeah, encapsulating all of their single malts.
All of their single malts.
Pretty great job.
It is a good job. It's a great job. Today we're going to focus very much on Aberfeldy, a distillery that you were at recently. I was at very recently as well. Mitch, when was the last time you were at Aberfeldy?
I was there, it was a while ago, man. I think it was about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But I love that distillery. I mean, I love the history, the heritage behind it. I love the story with Jures that you guys have done there.
Yeah.
And my favourite bit, I got taken to the secret bar.
Secret bar's
Which
pretty
we need
special.
to talk about. Yeah.
It's not that secret because I went there as well.
Well, yeah, secret for special people,
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah. Nah, Mike.
Well, you got in some.
Your
that's
colleague
for sure.
Mike, he took me in, and actually it was lovely. It was really
Yeah.
nice. Got to try 5 or 6 different Aberfeldies. It was brilliant. But before we get into the whiskey,
Yes.
and we bring people in. We like to chat to them about how they ended up doing, what their background is, and things like that. And you've got an interesting background in terms of how you ended up being a whiskey ambassador. Yeah.
Yes, so been in the hospitality industry for forever.
Yeah, since you were a baby.
Since I was a baby, pretty much. Sit at bar stools when my parents were working behind the bar, drinking, obviously, non-alcoholic
Pineapple juice
cocktails,
and eating
yeah,
crisps or whatever.
with
Yeah.
many umbrellas in them.
Yeah.
Little lager foam. Did you do that?
Yeah.
So many umbrellas, like drinking tons of grenadine, running around like a great up on sugar. My bedroom used to be underneath a cocktail bar for a while as well, so there was never any doubt that I'd end up doing something
Yeah.
in this. Which is great. I've always loved whiskey since before I was old enough to be allowed to drink whiskey. I moved to London, started working in great cocktail bars, and then ended up being a gin ambassador for the last 5 years. So
Right.
it's obviously always have fondness for juniper, but it's no whiskey.
Yeah.
So I was doing that for about 5 years, and then 2 months ago joined Bacardi
Yeah.
to do this. So
Yeah, because you and I, we've been chatting on and off for 4 or 5 years, maybe. Yeah, just about like what's out there, what's happening, and Mitch and I get asked a lot. How do you become a whiskey ambassador? The reality is, we haven't become a whiskey ambassador for 15 or 20 years. Because it was that long ago since we got into it, and the world has changed. So, in your first few months as a whiskey ambassador, how's it been? Like, what's been happening? Like, how is it? Do you have to use TikTok and all that sort of stuff? Like, what's the story?
no TikTok, so I don't have a clue. How I should ask my younger cousins. I'll teach you.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I started the week before Burns Night, which is a very busy time to start a role in single malt Scotch whisky.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was pretty much being thrown in the deep end with my great colleagues, obviously Matthew and Mike. And then ever since there, just kind of learning as much as I can about the brands. I got to visit all the distilleries in my 3rd week.
Yeah.
So kind of tour around, visiting
Brilliant.
all of them and just learning as much as I can.
Yeah.
Obviously trying as much as I can.
You've
got to try all of the different
Well, I
whiskies,
think that's
so.
essential. That's important, definitely. Yeah.
And then just kind of figuring out what the role is and going for it, and just trying to learn. There's so much to learn about each brand, especially ones with history as strong as Aberfeldy. So it's,
Before we get tucked into the whiskey, you know quite a lot of people in the industry because you're from it, you're born into it, really, and you've also worked in gin as well. Who've kind of been your sort of inspirations? Like, who is it that's kind of who's it that you've been watching from afar, going, I'd like to be in that role at some point? Who inspired you to kind of feel that you want to be into whiskey?
Well, there's a couple of people. So one was a good friend of mine, Stephanie Holt, who used to be with Speciality, and I just when I was a baby bartender back, I think when she was at El Dorado, I went to one of her trainings. I was like, this person is amazing, and the way she kind of trains and talks and teaches people, just kind of really drawing you in. I was like, right, this is kind of what I want to do. Another one as well.
She used to many years ago. You used to work next door to her. Steph used to work in Candy Bar.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day, yeah, before she moved to London.
No.
And yeah, she's someone. Yeah, El Dorado, what an amazing brand, right?
Exactly. Yeah, like kind of got me into drinking
Yeah.
rum, and then kind of following her when she moved to speciality and
Yeah.
doing all the whiskey
And
stuff.
she's just moved jobs recently.
Yeah, so she's at Waterford.
Is that where she's
now,
gone
yeah.
to? Right. Okay. Cool.
Great, because I get to taste some delicious Irish whiskies.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
So then, what was your eureka moment for whiskey then? How did that come about?
I mean, I was bar backing at my parents' hotel before I was old enough to drink. Obviously, don't know how much I'm allowed to say.
You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to. Are you allowed to bar back? Are you not?
I think as long as you're not serving booze, I think you're fine. And I had a really bad wisdom tooth, like an infection. Like it was really painful going through. And the bar manager at the time gave me a little measure of cast strength Ardbeg.
Yep.
So, like told me to like rinse it around my mouth, like hold it in there. It would kind of numb the pain, and because of the strong flavour, mask it and stuff. Didn't expect me to really, really love it.
Did you really? Yeah.
Absolutely loved it.
Baptism of fire.
Yeah, and I was pretty young and absolutely loved it, and that kind of started my journey into discovering whiskey.
Yeah.
So I think kind of started the other way around. A lot of people get into whiskey started with the super strong peated Isla stuff, and then worked my way into the kind of softer Highlands and Baysides. But ever since then, whiskey's been my absolute.
Yeah.
And what a great portfolio you've got to look after now. I mean,
Yeah, so
such good single malts.
Yeah, and such variety as well, which is really interesting. It means no day is ever going to be boring because you've got such great whiskies to be able to talk about.
Yeah. From your little trip up north, then when you were out, was it a few weeks ago? You were.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What stood out? I mean, did you go to all the distilleries? Did you get to Altmore? Did you
Yeah,
go to
went to all
and-
5. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Okay. There must have been a few little gems that were pulled out just to make you fall in love with those distilleries. No. Is that...
I mean, it wouldn't be hard to fall in love with any of those distilleries.
Yeah.
I think Craigellachie is just so interesting with the different production techniques they use, but Aberfeldy is just so beautiful. I think it escaped the plight of many distilleries in the 60s of having all of the buildings torn down and rebuilt, and it's still got the kind of beautiful Victorian heritage and the kind of pagoda roof, the Doig ventilator and all that beautiful stuff. It's kind of stepping back in time. But another interesting one was the Macduff distillery, because that was just built specifically in the 60s, and it doesn't follow the same sort of pattern as the other distilleries you go to. It's completely different. It's completely unique and kind of really beautiful in that sort of ugly 60s way.
Yeah, it's quite cool, isn't it? And style-wise, like Macduff, we're not going to talk about Macduff particularly. We're going to talk more about Aberfeldy, but let's. What whiskies did you try there? Did you try anything that sort of stood out? Was there anything that kind of was it just cask samples?
Yeah, no, that was just
which is just terrible, isn't it? A tough gig.
Cask samples sort of like, and a New Make Spirit for all the distilleries as well, which was absolutely fascinating trying New Make Spirit because it's not something you normally get to try.
Yeah.
But I tried the Devon up at Macduff, and then all the other distilleries just different samples of whatever Gary had in his boot.
Brilliant.
It's pretty nice.
It's not
Very
bad.
cool.
Yeah, we need to go around with you then next time.
Absolutely. So, India, you're based down in London.
Yes.
So I know you're only 2 months into the role, but how do you think you're going to split your time throughout the UK? Is it predominantly going to be based down in London?
At the moment, I think for the first couple of years, it is very much focused on London and just trying to build up the love for all the whiskey brands, both in on and off trade, down there. But obviously, I'll be hosting people up here, up at Aberfeldy, especially.
You're gonna have customers coming up to distilleries.
Yeah.
That's a good part of the job.
Yeah, it's really fun, like getting to, especially a lot of people down in London, they've never been to Scotland before, or especially to the Highlands. So getting to, I hadn't been until very, very recently. So getting to bring people up and show them distillery, and then having a night in Aberfeldy, and it's just something really special. And just getting to see that beautiful landscape, which is really kind of what Scotch whiskey is about, isn't it? That sense of place.
It is, but one of my favourite places to drink whiskey is London. Right? So and everyone's like, oh, it must be the Scottish pubs, there must be places you go, and it's like, actually, my favourite place to drink whiskey, one of them right up there is Vintage House, Old Compton Street.
Yeah.
I love Soho anyway, like just being around the bars and the vibes. I know, I do. And, well, on that street, you've got Bar Termini, you've got downstairs in Swift, you've got Vintage House itself with the Soho Whiskey Club, of course. So you're going to be getting close to these guys, the whiskey clubs, and that's brilliant.
I've worked in Soho for many years. Like in the bar side of things. So it's a great place to run around. Then Milroy's just up the road as well.
Totally,
Jerry's, which is like the best booze shop in the world. It's like kind of sweet shop for grown-ups.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just great. It's in so many different types of bars.
Yeah.
So what would be your ideal night for drinking whiskey in London? You're starting off at 5 o'clock, and you're going to go till a responsible time. Let's say, what,
10?
3?
Yeah.
See the way me and Daz work differently now. He's like 10 because he's thinking like, I need to get back for the kids.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
exactly.
3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I mean, I'm not going to find many places open in London till 3. I think it's a big
There's
city.
not.
I know,
It's
it's like-
really not.
Yeah.
It's,
It shuts earlier than here.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. I mean, it really depends. Obviously, if you're going to go in Soho, obviously going places like Vintage House and Milroy's kind of you're more just sitting at the bar drinking some interesting drams. And then if you wanted to kind of move up a little bit, going down to Swift, especially if you've got the pianist playing down there and that kind of atmosphere of like live piano music, sipping some delicious whiskey cocktails.
Yeah.
And then again, if you wanted to kind of head into East London, maybe you've got some more kind of your fun cocktails. You've got Kalu Calais, which is always, if you want to have a fun night out. I mean, I used to work there many years ago, so it's kind of a little shameless plug. But Milrose have opened as well another bar, Silverleaf.
Yeah, so I didn't get down. I was down recently, and Silverleaf was right on my list.
Yeah.
I went down to 100 Shoreditch, and my plan was Seed Library, and my plan was to go down to Silverleaf, which looks amazing.
So beautiful.
Is it? Yeah.
So beautiful.
How are the drinks? Are they good?
Absolutely incredible. So
Is
there's
it?
one. Say like there's a Craig Ellicky one.
Right.
I don't know how to mention it. It's pineapple and miso.
Okay.
And just absolutely dangerously delicious.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of having the skill of incredible cocktails and people that know a lot about whiskey, but in that kind of 5-star hotel bar setting.
Yeah.
Is
So
always
this
fun.
is just for everyone who hasn't been yet, because it's just opened, right?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. So this is a beautiful bar. It's owned by the guys at Milroy's.
Yeah, so like run by them, but it's part of the Pan Pacific Hotel.
Right.
So it's a 5-star hotel bar, but run by people that really know what they're doing.
I like that.
Like obviously know all about whiskey, and they've got little whiskey tasting rooms and stuff. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds.
Yeah. So on the whiskey cocktails, so you've worked in cocktail bars before.
Yes.
You're going to be looking after all these venues that are bashing out amazing whiskey cocktails, and we've seen this whole thing go full circle. Yeah. Because when we were at Diageo, nobody wanted to speak to us about whiskey at that time, and then we'd started to bring whiskey into the bars, and then everyone was kind of against putting whiskey in cocktails, and it took quite a long time for people to kind of come round to that idea. Like, what are the cocktails you're enjoying at the moment with Scotch that you're like sort of go back for more?
I've always been someone that, I mean, obviously I appreciate drinking a fine single malt neat. Like it's a lovely way to try the expression, try the distillery's expression. But always been the way, like if you want to enjoy whiskey, drink it the way you want to drink it.
Yeah.
And never been kind of a snob about mixing delicious whiskies in drinks. So like classic whiskey highball. It's just like, especially coming into spring, summer as we are now.
I've got a problem with the highball because.
What is your problem, Daz?
Well, I like the drink, in the UK, our glasses are massive in bars.
Yeah.
They're like 12-ounce glasses. They're soft drinks glasses.
They're much smaller now in London. So it's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
They're like glassware is.
So the moral of the story is drink highballs in London.
Yeah. Not the crap pubs I obviously visit. No, because it is. The glasses are massive, right?
Yeah.
And if you're only using a single shot, and then you're topping that up with soda,
I mean,
you can
that's
whack
where you're
out the
going
whiskey.
wrong. And firstly, it's like always have a double shot.
Yeah,
like,
but
gotta be able to
whoever's
taste
making it. But that is the big issue. Is the UK have beaten Japan a lot, and like the highballs there are brilliant because the glasses are small, the ice is
actually
big.
tasting.
Yeah.
You're not getting like over dilution from the ice. I think it's one of Dave Broom's books, just little whiskey ones, and kind of going through about what to mix it with. And it was years ago, and I was reading obviously mixing with coconut water and then chilled green tea, and that kind of started like opened up my eyes. And now, over lockdown, I left a mug of green tea like over brewing. I completely forgot about it. Went cold. I was like, well, I'm not gonna throw this away. Made a cordial out of it. Added some whiskey, top coconut water. Perfect. That was my drink for the summer.
There we go. Right, we need to bash over a recipe and we need to give that one a try.
Accidental overbrew green tea to like my drink of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
So, India, obviously your role as Malts Ambassador is going to be education on these 5 single malts that you have, but is it also going to bring in this whole cocktail aspect of it?
So I think so my time's going to be split, obviously, on trade, working with bars about cocktails, but also educational with kind of the whiskey specialists, the shops, the bars, and that's most people buy their whiskey at a shop. They buy a bottle to take home. So I think it's kind of then educating as well as people drinking it in bars, educating the people in stores and ways to advise the customers to drink whiskey.
Yeah.
And as I said, you don't have to be sitting drinking really strong whiskey. You just neat grimacing through it by a fire, and that's it. Like there's so many ways to enjoy drinking whiskey, and like kind of the demographics of who's drinking whiskey is really opening up as well. So I think that's kind of a big part of my job going forward.
I've been sitting with a nice dram of Aberfeldy in front of me that I haven't touched yet. I'm lying, I've touched it a couple of times.
I was going to say, I've definitely had a couple of sips.
So let's get into this, India. This is such a good... I think this is one of the biggest underrated single malts out there. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
So tell us about it. Tell us a little bit of history and heritage about Aberfeldy.
So Aberfeldy was created kind of back in 1898 to become the heart malt of Dewars.
Right.
So that was the whole purpose behind Aberfeldy. Tommy Dewar and John Alexander Dewars, like kind of John Dewars, the founders of Dewars' sons, taken over the business. Business was booming due to kind of the marketing genius of Tommy Dewar, and they just weren't able to get enough whiskey from other distilleries to kind of satisfy the demand that they were creating.
Yeah.
And also just having that consistency. So they created Aberfeldy. They were looking at sites to build their distillery. Decades prior, there'd been a distillery further up the Patilly Burn, which is the water source we use, that produced delicious whiskey. And back then they're like, oh, well, delicious water, delicious whiskey. They thought, well, that means we're going to create delicious whiskey. So that's why they picked Aberfeldy, one of the reasons. Another reason was that it was a couple of miles down the road from where their father was born.
Yep.
Grew up, which is called a village of Dull. Which,
Dull
interesting
village.
enough,
Dull village,
have twinned
From
up.
there, Mitch.
Have twinned up with Boring and Bland in Oregon and Australia, respectively.
Is it actually? Is it?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah,
Is that a
yeah.
joke?
No. And they've created the Trinity of Tedium. Yeah, seriously.
I love that.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, nice little...
Has anyone do you know anyone that's been to all three?
I don't personally know.
Yeah.
But I
That would be
reckon,
a trip, wouldn't it?
I think there must be. It's like this...
I think there's a release within this at some point, and I know it's very difficult to get people excited about Bland, Dull. What was the other one?
Boring.
Yeah. But a Trinity of Tedium would be a great release
It
of
would.
vintages.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So...
You can steal that one from
yeah,
us.
I will. I'll just say take it to global and
I
be
hope,
like, right.
I hope your marketing department are listening. Yeah.
Be like, yeah, Brian.
India, why are you wasting your time with that guy, Dad? He's an idiot.
So yeah, that was where John Dewar was founded. Beautiful water, near where he was born, not where his father was founded, where he was born. And they had train links to Perth, which back in the 1800s, roads were pretty terrible.
And that part of the world's massive, isn't it? Because Bells was from there, Famous Grouse is from there, Hague is not far away down in Markinch and stuff. So it's like that central lower Highlands, I suppose, is a massive area for historic blends.
Absolutely.
Less important these days.
Yeah.
Obviously, yours was in Perth as well, right? So
that was their kind of their shop was in Perth. So again, super close.
Yeah.
So not too far from Aberfeldy at all. So yeah, distillery was built, designed by Charles Doig, who obviously built kind of majority of distilleries at the time. I said we're lucky to still have like the majority of the original buildings there. And the original style, obviously, the Doig ventilator to create that kind of the airflow to make sure that back then, obviously, everyone was drying the malt with peat, and we didn't want to be a peat have that strong flavour of peat even back then before we started burning other things. So even then, the style of Aberfeldy has always been kind of light and golden, honeyed and smooth and rich, and that was what we wanted from the beginning and what we're kind of striving for now.
And going back to the water source, I love, because you guys call Aberfeldy the golden dram, right? And there's a little bit about gold and panning for gold story there.
The Patilly Burn is our water source. It's fantastic for us because it's really fast flowing, constant stream of beautiful water. But known as golden dram not only because obviously the beautiful golden hue of the whiskey and the kind of honeyed note you get, it's also there's traces of alluvial gold in the water source. So you could put on some wellies and go panning for gold, but if you do find anything, you have to report it to the Queen and say, "Oh, I found this gold. Can I keep it?" And chances are she'll say, no, because everything belongs to her that you found.
Has anyone found any massive nuggets?
Yeah, so quite a few years ago. Can't remember how big it was, but quite a big chunk.
Really?
Of gold, yeah.
And did it go to the Queen?
Yeah.
What did she say?
Yeah, she wants it. Obviously.
Oh, does she? Yeah.
It's not
And
like
why
she
is that?
doesn't
Because
have
it's her land?
Yeah.
Because she's wedged. She wants more money.
She wants more money.
She's greedy.
Yeah. Hey, you better watch out, man. She listens to the podcast. You get some
Get
people knocking on the
treason,
door,
yeah.
you know?
She'll be our oldest listener, I suspect.
You get those guards with like big hats coming
Yeah,
to your door
yeah,
and guys around. Or just shit on the podcast.
Yeah.
So what we say is we turn the water source. We can't keep the gold, but we turn it into liquid gold
Oh,
instead.
I like that story.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Actually, when I was up recently, it snowed when we were there, literally, and then the sun blasted through, and it was just ridiculous. It was
It's
so
so
beautiful.
So nice up there.
Yeah, and we had a couple of drams of the 16-year-old actually just by the Petilly Burn, which was very lovely.
I mean, that is the standard. We take people there, drink delicious whiskey, overlooking, and then it kind of makes you fall in love.
I tell you what, we did get.
Yeah.
Forgive me, but the fella that looks after us at the distillery, he's
Gary.
Is it Gary? Yeah, he's the brand home ambassador.
Yes.
He made some unbelievable hot toddies.
He's got an incredibly incredible hot toddy recipe. I keep meaning to ask him for it.
I think it's the best hot toddy I've ever tasted.
Especially because you're drinking it with the new make.
Yeah.
And I think drinking hot toddies with the new make is what
It was designed for, right?
Yeah, it's what
yeah.
hot toddies were to kind of mask the
Yeah.
harshness of the new make spirit. With Aberfeldy, we're incredibly lucky that the new make spirit is delicious.
Yeah.
Like
that is the best hot toddy I've ever had.
I think it's such a great distillery because you've got so many things that go on there. You've got the story of Dewars, like that whole, exhibition, I suppose it is, right?
Yeah,
it
the kind of
takes you through that
visitor centre
story.
and the history.
Yeah, it's really
yeah.
cool. You've got an amazing cafe, restaurant up there. And the secret bar,
Yeah,
which I want to get back to. Well, but before we do,
We need to
let's chat
drink
about this.
some,
Yeah,
yeah.
let's chat about this 12-year-old. Take us through this Aberfeldy 12-year-old that we've got in front of us.
Aberfeldy 12 obviously the one that most people end up drinking from the core range. And as I said, the whole point of Aberfeldy is that kind of beautiful honeyed, rich note.
Yeah.
And we get that from kind of really long fermentation times. So on average, it's like about 72 hours.
So most
fermentation.
distilleries are running about 55, right?
Yeah, 55, 60-ish. So having that extra long fermentation, you're getting this kind of lovely honeyed, fruity notes. Like as I was saying with the new make spirit, it kind of tastes like beautiful kind of apple and pear eau de vie.
Yeah.
And it's something you can drink very easily by itself, which a lot of new makes you can't. So,
Yeah.
and what Stephanie McLeod, our malt master, and also the master blender for Dewars, wanted to, obviously with the aging process, didn't want to mask that kind of honeyed, fruity note. Just kind of wanted to emphasize it. So it's a mixture of 4 different casks. So first fill bourbon and first fill sherry, and then refill bourbon and rechar bourbon. So obviously they're kind of marrying up those 4 casks together after being aged for at least 12 years in this case. So kind of getting all those different influences from the different barrels to kind of harmonise together.
Because it is when you talk about that kind of eau de vie fruity style, it suggests a lighter style of single malt. Although I would say when you taste this, it's quite full flavoured.
Yeah, you've got.
It's not a pushover by any means. Yeah, it's quite a robust, fruity, full flavoured single malt.
Yeah.
Even at the 12, which is a relatively accessible single malt whiskey.
Yeah.
But it still delivers quite a lot of flavour.
Yeah, a lot going on.
Yeah.
And as I said, so you've got kind of the fruity honey notes. You've got vanilla coming through, and the tiniest hint of smoke.
Yeah.
And getting from those kind of rechar casks, and it just kind of balances out.
And there's a weight from the sherry.
It's got a super long finish, lovely kind of feeling in the mouth.
Yeah, it's a big mouthfeel. The 12-year-old.
I think so.
And then let's talk about the other expressions.
Yeah, so 16-year-old, we mentioned earlier. Same 4 casks, but then married together and then finished for a further 6 months.
Yep.
In Oloroso sherry. Lovely sound.
Yeah, I'd like the 16. I did enjoy that. Yeah.
16 is my kind of sitting by a fire in the winter.
Yeah. It's
Dram.
cozy, isn't it?
Yeah, that kind of like fruit cakey cherry notes. And then the 21, so the kind of third in our core range, is again the same 4 casks as 12, but then no sherry finishing.
So the 21 was weird.
Yeah.
Like really nice. I'm sure it was the 21 I was tasting when I was up in the bar there recently, and they had this really fresh cucumbery kind of
like crazy
limey
cucumber.
kind of quality.
Yeah.
It was really interesting, and I hadn't really tried that. I haven't had that flavour, I don't think, from a whiskey in the past where I've just kind of been sort of struck by it and gone, what is that? And chatting to the Gary at the distillery, he was like, it's come up a few times. It's got this really kind of vibrant, fresh, light kind of quality. And I wasn't sure. It was almost like lime marmalade / cucumber because it's got that kind of like really fresh
just like
vibe.
Amazing for a 21-year-old.
I love that. And I love that when you get an old whiskey like that and it has those vibrant
exactly.
flavors.
And then rather than kind of the more kind of just this like super rich honey, that's more kind of your like floral heather honey. Notes
it's
coming
floral
through.
and fragrant, and those are great when you get older whiskies because it can come through in different ways. Sometimes it can be lavenders, sometimes it can be yellow fruits. That one was fresh cucumber, lime marmalade, really, really beautiful. Have you tried that?
I haven't, but I think India said there's a bottle in the post for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good. I've got a sample.
Ask Matthew. He'll sort it out.
Well, I've actually I took a driver's pack away from the distillery, so I've got a sample, which I'll give you one day.
It's lovely to try the 12 and the 21 side by side because they are using the exact same barrels.
Yeah.
Just the 21 is aged for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Extra 9 years. That's my maths.
Right? Yeah. You're asking the wrong people, isn't it? No, but I was genuinely. I was impressed by it, really impressed by it. It always helps when you're in a warehouse tasting and things
that's
like
kind of
that.
Atmosphere
They'll always taste better in a warehouse. But I mean, it was really pleasant.
And Daz, that's a nice segue because talking about warehouses, let's talk about the secret bar that you guys have got.
The secret bar is pretty special place. So you're going into Aberfeldy, you've got the old warehousing. We don't warehouse any of our whiskies there anymore, just space. But we've obviously kind of ties into the visitor centre, and then around the back where it used to be the filling part of the warehouse, got this little slidey door that you open up, and it's just this amazing little bar with obviously all of the Aberfeldy ranges and all of our other single malts so you can just sit there and just try some of the most incredible whiskies.
And what's it called now? Because when I was there, it was called the Scotch Egg Club. Is it still the same?
No, I asked about that recently, and that's not a thing anymore.
They killed that.
Yeah, I think they killed that before my time.
Yeah, they did good hats because Fraser and guys that worked for Bacardi many years prior, they used to run around with their cool snapback hats and quite liked the idea of it. They played this sort of Scottish weird games out in different places around the world.
They've got giant Jenga in that. In the bar as well with just got kind of engraved with the jurisms.
Yeah,
so it's like the kind of phrases that Tommy Dewar like to
give us a couple of jurisms. Do you have any off the bat?
Do
you know?
So how does someone get an invite to the secret bar then?
I'll sort you out. Yeah.
But anyone listening, how can they get access to it? Is it like VIP only? They have to see you up at the distillery and be like,
come on,
customer reviews. I don't actually know. Like I thought people I'd bring them up, but I reckon there's a way if you speak to Gary.
So anyone listening, speak to Gary.
Yeah.
Say India sent you, and you want to see the secret bar.
I think.
There you go.
Yeah,
that'll
I'm
be
gonna
fine.
get trouble, Gary.
Cheers, Gaz.
And, use codes. Use the code Aberfeldy 6128. That's the secret code.
Yeah. There we go. That's gonna
just totally made that up.
Yeah.
Don't use that.
Don't do it. It might work though.
But yeah, fantastic place. Obviously, you get to try all the amazing different ranges. So most recent one kind of releases are one which I got to drink a lot of when we were there a couple of weeks ago was Aberfeldy finished in Cote Roti red wine casks. Which very recently won best in its category at the World Whisky Awards.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you very much. If you ever get a chance to try it. 18-year-old finished in Cote Roti. Wine cask, and Stephanie's tasting it, so it's like drinking an eaten mess. Rich berries. That's
a good reason to try something, isn't it?
Yeah, it tastes like eaten mess, which is always a good tasting
Very
note
pleasant
to have.
When people do visit the distillery, because it's a well-visited distillery, it's very well set up for it as well. They often stay in a certain place, right? You guys, when you're up there, what's the hotel called that you guys stay in? Is it when you're up?
So we stay at the Townhouse Hotel.
Yeah.
But we eat quite often down the road in the Grand Tully.
The Grand
Hotel
so that,
as well.
Yeah.
That's a great spot.
It's
I've been there
so
a few times.
beautiful, and the food is absolutely incredible.
Is it?
And they kind of do a lot of our kitting, just like kind of little nibbly bits.
They do nibbly bits in the distillery,
and you've got a chocolatier next to it as well.
Yeah, I haven't actually been there. I shot when I went. Apparently, it's very easy to spend a ridiculous amount of money.
Yes. I'm blanking on the name of that now.
So I think it's the Highland Chocolatier.
It is.
Right.
Ian Burnett.
Ian Burnett. That's right. Yeah. Good memory.
Apparently, it's amazing. Matthew was saying somewhere in Aberfeldy as well. You can get Iron Brew donuts.
Yeah.
They weren't selling them when we were up because apparently it's only for like tourist season. that they make them. There's not demand
Locals,
for... No, but there's not apparently demand for
donuts.
it. Yeah. So he hyped up these Iron Brew donuts. We're really excited.
got
and
up there
then,
and they weren't there.
Yeah, gutted.
Raging.
Absolutely
I
gutted.
really want an Iron Brew donut now.
Yeah, because I missed out on the restaurant because
Yeah.
when I was up, I was driving, so I had to come up. I was up during the day. We had all the snacks and stuff, and the lunch was amazing at Aberfeldy. But then the guys went on and they went there for dinner at night, and everyone that speaks to me about their experience at Aberfeldy, like, you need to go to this place for dinner. It's
And
unbelievable.
it's amazing. And then go back to Aberfeldy, stay at the townhouse, and in the morning have our porridge with whiskey poured on top.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
I'll need to
Always
do
a
that
nice
next
thing- always
time.
a nice thing to do when
I'll
in
do it
Scotland.
overnight.
So I want to know what's going on with Aberfeldy. What are you guys doing? I mean, Stephanie's working with these crazy casks
Yes.
right now with Dewars.
Yeah.
Is any of that going to come through with Aberfeldy?
So we've obviously had the kind of red wine series,
Yeah.
which the Coat Roti was the most recent one, released end of last year. We had Puyac and Pomerol prior to that. There are a couple of new releases coming out later in the year.
Uh-huh.
I cannot say.
Carry on.
I cannot
Oh,
say any
we
more
won't
than
put it out.
that.
We won't put it out.
India, finish that Aberfeldy and then I'm sure it'll come out.
Yeah. Just keep your eyes peeled to
Okay.
really delicious limited editions coming out
Cool.
Cool.
in the autumn.
In the autumn.
Yes.
So we're recording this in, what month are we in? April?
We are in April,
April.
so this will go out in
April
May.
right now?
Yeah, so we don't have that long
So
to wait.
yeah, no, just a couple of months.
What's the best way to sort of follow you then in terms of what you're up to and the sort of programs you're working on and
So
things?
I mean, Instagram probably
Yeah.
is you. So India.Blanch is me at the moment. I'm trying to think of a kind of funny whiskey pun to change my handle to.
Yeah.
But any suggestions, guys?
Yeah, Mitch is
Like-
quite good at that kind of stuff. Yeah, Whiskey Mitch.
Yeah. I just think like
I'm gonna knock you out.
the problem with my name, it just would make it seem like the whiskey's from India and there's
Yeah,
whiskies
yeah.
over there, but it just wouldn't quite tie in with Aberfeldy.
I'm just thinking, if this goes out and you can't find India on Instagram,
Mm.
it means she's legally changed her name to Hamish.
Yeah,
It sounds more Scottish and more
Exactly,
whiskey
yeah.
related.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, any suggestions for some punny handles?
Yeah.
Funny handles.
Send them my way.
Well, India, thank you so much for being on the
No,
programme.
thank you for
It's been
having
a
me.
pleasure having you here.
Yeah, thanks for bringing Aberfeldy as well. It's,
Yeah.
it's a overlooked whiskey often, isn't it? It's one of those that's definitely showing up more and more every shop I go to now. I'm seeing
absolutely.
more and more Aberfeldy, and actually seeing it being reviewed a lot more as well. I suppose
Yeah.
as you're releasing the limited editions and stuff, it's getting a lot of kind of column inches, which is great.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and I think it's a great whiskey if people are kind of getting into whiskey to kind of start drinking, but also again it's got that complexity, that depth of flavour for kind of whiskey aficionados
Yeah.
drink as well. But yeah, I've got getting my mum into whiskey, and the 16 was the one that I'm giving her, and
Nice.
she loves it.
She's got good taste.
Fantastic.
Yeah, she was sad when I left gin, but now I think
Was
she's
it?
fine. But,
Right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Nice
India.
to see you. Cheers.